Hello and welcome to the Tina and Karen Do the Tube show. We never called it that before. Why the fuck did I just say the Tina and Karen Do the Tube show? I am Karen,
This is Tina.
and as per usual, Tina insists on introducing himself in the most bizarre way because that way
I think comical way. I say comical.
comical implies funny.
Yeah.
I don't mean
Well,
anybody.
that's just the user's perspective.
I don't mean to put you down. You know I love you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's not even I know. I would say with Star Wars, I go like Han Solo. I know.
Oh, that's always the perfect line.
I think it would. Can you imagine if Han Solo had said at that point, like, Leia, I love you, and he says thank you? It would actually be a big.
It might be.
Well,
Thank you.
it changes his character from just sort of a smug, smarmy kind of player, cool guy to just a
Yeah, you get rid of that like mystery and
yeah. And it just becomes a jackass.
yeah.
Or did you ever see that?
That would be a completely different series then.
Or did you ever see a Family Guy's parody of Star Wars?
I'm sure I have, but remind me.
Well, at that one scene where they do the Han's freezing in Carbonite, I think Leia or Lois says to Peter, like, I love you, and he says, fuck off. Which
so eloquently put.
Which granted would be even a bigger slap to the face than I know or thank you. So
Yeah, you're just completely nagging her.
right. Well, this is the Tina and Karen Do the Tube. We've been gone for a while. We had some audio problems the last time we recorded a podcast. So we did actually produce one. I did not think it meted the standards of quality that you have come to expect from our show. All three of you out there. So
shout out to the Finland guy.
Yeah, go Finland. Woo!
Woo!
God. A little ancestry.com for you, Martin.
What's that?
You're Finnish, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
It's a proud thing. I'm not saying you shouldn't be proud to be Finnish, but like, are you proud to be Finnish?
I think we're a very good characters of the Caucasian race.
English language. I was gonna say that the Finland is like the Scottish of Scandinavia. You know, you're
Scotland of Scandinavia.
Yeah, you're sort of part of the club.
Where all the backwards people are.
Yeah, pretty much. I would say like you're part of the club, but we all look down on you. That's how I think like the rest of Scandinavia looks at Finland.
No.
Well, yeah.
First of all, we're not even part of the Scandinavian peninsula.
I know.
And saying like we're the Scotland of, the UK is completely wrong. We're flat.
I wasn't saying you're part of.
We're more like the England of the UK.
No. Wait, what?
Oh yeah.
You're more like the England of the UK. I think
England much more flat and tranquil.
England is the England of the UK. What you mean to say is Finland is the England of Scandinavia. And I get it, you're not on the Scandinavian Peninsula, neither is Denmark or Iceland. You're all part of the same Nordic culture.
Yes, Nordic. That's the preferred term.
I prefer Laplander.
that's like the south of the United States.
Ooh.
Ooh. But it's the north.
What is the... I know. What is the native indigenous people of northern, like, Sweden and northern Scandinavia? What are they called?
I think they're called...
It's going to bug me.
Oh, gosh. They got really kind of colorful clothes and whatnot.
Right. Did you ever see the movie Klaus on Netflix, the Christmas movie?
No.
Oh,
It's not like Santa's Sleigh, right?
That's a great movie that we need to review someday. But no, it's a really good Netflix show movie. I don't know, it's a Netflix original animated movie. You should watch it next Christmas. Please watch it. It's a future Christmas classic. but it sort of tells this fictional story of the origins of Santa, which a
Hmm.
lot of Christmas stories do. But I actually like this one. It's
What about this one makes it better than the rest of the Santa Claus
okay.
stories?
First off, the animation in this movie is top notch. I can't think of a more beautifully animated movie off the top of my head. Maybe Wall-E.
Okay.
Wall-E's good.
Okay.
But that's 3D. This one's 2D.
Hmm.
But it's a story about like a postman who gets sent to this remote village in the northern parts of Sweden or Norway or wherever the fuck they are,
Hmm.
and he befriends sort of a hermit toy maker, and together they save Christmas.
What was going wrong with Christmas before?
I don't know,
No
just
one was getting their presents, or
no one was doing anything. Like no, there was no presents. This is sort of the origin story. Indigenous people of
can you
Scandinavia.
imagine if there wasn't a Christmas? Like, what would retailers do without like Christmas? Because they have Black Friday, and that's when retailers traditionally say they go in the black.
Yeah. What would we do without Christmas? Do you think Christmas is too commercial?
Definitely, I would say it's more commercial than religious based now.
Hmm. Oh, the Sami people.
Hey, that's it.
Yep.
Some me.
Okay, great. They encompass large parts of northern Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia. Then they
Oh
wear
yeah, yeah, on the one peninsula.
yeah, like they wear very colorful clothing.
Hmm.
Um, they live in teepees.
And they
Uh,
speak to reindeer.
well, that's the one I bring them up in the movie Klaus. They are the elves.
Hmm.
Is that
Oh,
similar to
the
Mimi?
Sami people are the elves.
Yes, that's like okay. So it tries to tell the movie Klaus tries to tell sort of a plausible origin story of Christmas, at least the Santa Claus story of Christmas, and
Okay.
and where we get the myth, the legend of elves, was it was actually these Sami people who built
Hmm.
sleighs.
Okay.
I mean,
um.
it's goofy, but I mean, it's done in a. I make it sound a lot more offensive and rude and weird than it actually is. It's actually a very charming movie.
Hmm.
Okay,
Where do you see the future of Christmas going?
the future of Christmas? Hmm.
Do you think anything changes? Like, in, from what I understand, like Christmas has always been around forever, but the meaning of it has kind of changed.
Um. That's a that's a big question.
Mm.
Do I think that Christmas will? I haven't thought about it enough to give a real opinion. I will say that as I've gotten older, I was actually talking with to my wife about this earlier today.
Mm.
Um,
Really?
yeah, we were talking. Well, we were talking about seasons. She's very new to
Hmm.
seasons, so we were talking
That's
about our.
right. Yeah.
So we were talking about our favorite seasons. I happen to mention that winter's my least favorite season, but I do like Christmas. And
Hmm.
um, the commercialization of Christmas, I do agree is a problem. But at least as I've gotten older, I realize that I don't care too much about that.
Really?
Well, it's because like I mean like I don't know how you celebrate Christmas with your family, but the
Hmm.
way we've celebrated Christmas, at least in recent years, it's just an excuse for the family to get together. We have a lot of food. We have great, gift giving, and the gifts don't really matter. No, we don't. No one ever gets what they exactly want, but it's because we don't really want for anything. It's just more of a chance to say, "Hey, I care about you," and here's a good laugh when you open up this gift I got you, Mick. Which
All right. All right.
my brother is the easiest person to gift give for because he doesn't want anything, and if he just opens it up and laughs, it's worth it. So I just buy him a gag
Okay.
gift every year.
Who's the hardest member to buy for?
My sister is big on games, so that's easy. My dad's big on
Hmm.
antiques, so that's also pretty easy. Um, Mick is my brother just cares about a laugh, so that's pretty easy. I would say my mom.
Really? she doesn't have one particular thing that
Well,
every year it's like your go-to.
I think the thing that she enjoys the most is just like she always asks me, just give me a gift card to like Moctezuma's or Subway or something. She likes eating out food, and
Hmm.
but it just seems so impersonal and boring. You know what I mean?
It,
Just to give a gift card.
yeah, it's kind of weird. Like you want to get him something, but it doesn't feel like you really put any like effort into it.
That's what the
But
gift card is. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's lacking thought. But
Mm-hmm. Do you hate when people tell you what they want because it takes sort of the fun out of like shopping for them, or do you like that?
to be honest, I haven't bought gifts in quite some time.
Really? What do you?
I kind of want to just get rid of the whole gift giving thing. It's like I'd rather just have the day off and relax and watch, movies and just, have a meal and spend some time together rather than.
I actually agree. I wouldn't. I don't, well, I don't know. I like gift giving. I do.
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
I actually like it. I mean, like some people, like my brother, he doesn't ever give people gifts. It's not that he's selfish. He doesn't like the idea of it. I think he probably is on the same sort of brainwave as you. But I like
It
it.
actually makes me feel bad when people get me like expensive gifts and I don't get them anything.
Does that happen?
Oh yeah, in the last few years, I've just been so busy during Christmas that, like I said, I just really would rather just have the day off.
See, I don't want to do away with gift giving altogether because I like gift giving.
I
Um,
get it too. Like if you give someone the perfect gift,
it,
it's a great feeling.
okay, so last year for my wife, I got her what I think was the perfect gift. So I got her. Well, I gave her two gifts. One was sort of just a, hey, I happened to walk through the store and this kind of made me think of you gift.
Hmm.
It was just a couple coffee mugs. One saying Mr. Right and the other one saying Mrs. Always Right, which I thought was funny. Uh,
Okay.
the other one I was actually one I put a lot more thought in. My wife obviously moved away to be with me, so I wanted her to feel like this new home. She moved in with me just before Christmas, at Christmas. I
Hmm.
wanted her to feel somewhat attachment to her family and her friends and her past, and for this place to
Hmm.
feel like her home. So I got her a bunch of framed pictures of her friends and family. So
Okay.
yeah, and it made me feel good to think of that as a good idea. And it's not even about the get. Okay, so what about children though?
Getting children gifts? I can't recall the last gift I got
No,
someone younger than me.
no. But if we do the whole,
I
if
bought
we
one of our friends, a lap dance at a strip club, but that was kind of spur of the moment. I wouldn't call it a gift.
okay, back to the discussion on children. Thank you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you do away with gift giving, what does that mean for the children? Don't they like? I mean, like I like to see. One of the biggest blessings is knowing that, like when I go to Christmas, we actually have a new generation sprouting up, kids at Christmas unwrapping presents, and they have so much joy that it's a
Hmm.
really breath of, it's really what's the word? Just it's really refreshing. Is that what I'm trying to say?
Um, just just seeing them excited for what they get and whatnot.
Yeah, because my friend says the best thing about one of the understated things about having kids is it gives you a chance to relive your childhood a bit.
I remember seeing like pictures of me like crying after getting gifts because it's not what I wanted.
Well, I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to hear that.
I mean, everyone has like their best gift they remember getting for Christmas growing up and their least favorite gift, I'm sure.
Socks.
That is the perfect gift, Christmas gift going into the later years.
I'm
It's
saying
very understated what a new pair of socks, just how comforting that is.
it's something I realized. It's something when you become a young adult. Like when you're a kid, you don't want socks or underwear or clothes because that's like You want toys. You want stuff to play with.
Hmm.
But when you get to become a young adult and you never buy clothes for yourself, all of a sudden socks and underwear are pretty bomb.
Yeah, what is the age where you just kind of stopped caring about gifts?
I stopped caring about gifts. I don't know. I don't have a 15, 16, somewhere late teens. No, no, it's probably earlier than that. I probably the last time I remember asking for something specifically other than a cash or something might have been like when I was like 13 or something like that.
Okay.
You know, yeah. How about you?
I think it's when I realized I'm just never gonna get what I asked for.
All right, so let's go down the list. What was your childhood? I want this Christmas. What would the perfect Christmas gift have been for you?
Probably like it would have been like a N64.
Ooh,
And never got anything more expensive than a Game Boy Advance growing up. That was probably my favorite gift, maybe other than the family gift of the trampoline. But
ooh, trampoline. But okay, the N64 definitely. Didn't you have an N64? I remember you loaned me games or
I
game.
did. I did, yeah. But then I didn't get it through gift. I had to work for that.
Ah, well, like your parents did you right.
What's that?
Your parents did you right. They taught you well.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. I mean, they didn't pay me any cash, but they said if I dig these post holes for the fence, they'll buy me an N64.
That's payment.
Yeah, yeah, it certainly is.
So how long?
I can't remember how much was an N64 back then.
Oh, I don't know. Hey, I got my computer with me. Let's see. Um,
I don't think it was like more than $150, but it seems so small compared to I mean, yeah, games now that are coming up to like $70.
okay, the original price for the Nintendo 64 was 200.
200, really? Okay, so a little bit more than how I remember. But
Uh,
they're always way more expensive at the beginning.
Hold on. We got to put that in today's perspective. So $200 in 1998 would be
22 years ago.
no. I've actually got a
Well,
calculator.
oh yeah. I got
Okay.
an app for that.
Okay, so it's $200 in 1998 or whatever. No, is when the N64 came out or something like that. Would be worth
Mhm.
about $316 today.
Okay, still smaller than what I think a new Xbox or PlayStation would be.
Oh yeah. So that
Mhm.
was yeah. Do you think gaming has gotten too expensive as like a part as a casual hobby?
I think we both agree like the amount of time that games can take up now and hours of play is it's kind of crazy. Like we're used to games that you can finish in like, 2 weeks or rather than like 2 months of actual like quests and side quests
Oh yeah, I
and
used to.
multiplayer wasn't even what it used to be back then as it's compared to now.
I don't know. I would say that GoldenEye will stand supreme as my favorite multiplayer game of all time. Well, like other
I
than
mean,
like
have you
as
played multiplayer games like first person shooters today where you're connected online and
no, because they
you
don't
got
match up to GoldenEye. Go.
what if they came out with a GoldenEye remake?
I think they did, didn't they? Wasn't there like a?
Did they?
Oh my
I
god, there was one. They did make one like I think a couple of um, maybe like Xbox 360 generation. They did come up with a remake, GoldenEye video game.
It
They
must have not have been to the same fanfare.
because I remember they redid it with Daniel Craig was the like main GoldenEye video game remake. There. Okay, here we go. Oh wow, graphics look. 2010 video game, GoldenEye 2000. Yep, there was a GoldenEye 2010 version for the Nintendo
Do you ever remember
DS.
playing it or
No,
interested in playing it?
no, not at
No?
all.
You probably more into Halo at that time.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of first-person shooters in general.
Me neither. It's always been about the story, but I mean, I went through a very hard Modern Warfare 2 phase. And that was my last real big gaming I'd say addiction was that game.
Yeah. I so I am definitely I don't call myself a gamer. I enjoy video games, but calling yourself a gamer has a certain um
Connotation?
yes, exactly, a connotation to it. I mean, it describes a lifestyle choice, and that's not
Oh,
me. I do.
like a nerd and a geek.
No, I consider
But
myself a geek and a nerd, but like a gamer, like gamers are intense. Like if I,
I meant like along those lines, like
yeah,
you're so far gone in that direction that you're
it's more about time commitment. Gamers like will drop what they're doing to game. I
mhm.
don't. Gaming is a leisure activity, and I maybe get like 2 or 3 hours a week, usually on like weekend mornings to play video games.
What do you think about the whole like Twitch phenomena going on right now? I mean, for me, like a gamer now is also a Twitcher or someone who streams their playing.
Right, live streamers, and
Hmm.
there's a couple live streamers I actually do enjoy, but it's not for gaming. Usually, it's those who have interesting talks.
While they're gaming.
Yeah, exactly. To do gaming in the background when they're talking about something else. So I'm more interested in the conversation than I am actually the gaming.
Hmm.
Um, like okay, so the best example of a live stream gamer would be PewDiePie, right?
Yeah, that's how he got. I mean, just face of YouTube.
Yeah, he's the face of YouTube's. Hashtag subscribe to PewDiePie or whatever. Uh, he
I remember watching a porn video and seeing that comment in one of the comment threads.
I remember reading the New Zealand Shooters Manifesto and reading
Oh,
subscribe to PewDiePie. I don't mean to bring that up. It's so
uh,
dark, but like, it totally shows how a
yeah,
meme
it's
can.
pretty dark.
It totally shows how a meme can totally get out of hand. But well, he's the sort of like the face of a guy who made his career playing video games, but he's not known for it now. I even watched a video of him recently where he says he basically does not get any of his views from gaming anymore. It's all from commentary on other stuff,
Hmm.
comedy, and that's the thing. In order to be a Twitch streamer, you need to be either funny, insightful, or
Or
chick.
hot.
I was gonna say chick with big boobs. Uh,
There's a word for it. They're called thoughts. I had one of my younger employees told me that.
wait. Who told you this?
Nate did.
Nate? Nate's not.
Yeah,
How?
yeah. They're
How?
called thoughts. I forget what the acronym stands for, but
I
THOT.
Yes, I've heard of the term. I actually use it now because I love it. But
Yeah.
Mick, my brother, told me what it was because I didn't know what it was. I saw it written out in memes all the time, and I didn't know what it meant. It's
Hmm.
it's an acronym for that hoe over there.
But it's specifically geared towards Twitch streamers.
It's
Or
e-girls who are exploiting lonely gamers for money, and I don't think they're doing anything wrong. That might sound like it was I'm trying to defame them. No, I think they're doing some. It's a capitalist country. They know what they can sell, and they're doing it legally.
it's less of a gray area than, say, the sugar daddy relationships we were talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, they're actually giving people a service in a weird fucking way. So that gets us into simps.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about Simps?
Sure.
Something I learned recently too from the same guy.
Okay, so these kind of these terms are coming out so fast. When
Mhm.
I first heard what a simp was, I thought, "Oh, that's a cuck." No, it's more specific than that. A simp is someone who has fantasized a relationship with someone, and
Hmm.
they basically I might be describing this wrong because like there's a couple definitions I've heard used, but simp is someone who is obsessed with an e-girl and
Mhm.
basically devotes their life towards the possibility that there might be a relationship. This delusional idea that you might have a relationship with this girl online.
I one of the models I follow on Instagram, she also has a Twitch stream that she uses, and one of her comments, someone called another guy like a simp, and she like, no, you can get banned because that's hate speech or
Fuck
something like
that.
that.
Well, Twitch is actually pretty authoritarian with what they allow on their platform. They so maybe that is hate speech. I don't fucking know. I don't like the term hate speech. Yes, you can say very hateful things, but like, should people be banned for it? I don't agree.
Mm-hmm.
But so with Twitch streamers, uh, so do you have much experience with Twitch streamers? Do you actually watch Twitch streamers?
I no, not really. I watched that one model stream like 2 or 3 times just because I wanted to hear what her voice sounded like.
Okay, so
Um,
this was a girl who was an Instagram model, and she thought she could make a side hustle, gaming Twitch stream.
yeah, yeah. She stopped, doing like nude stuff, and she started just doing Twitch stuff.
Ho 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 ho! Okay,
Hey,
we've lost him. We've lost him. I thought you said this was an Instagram model.
it is. She got a lot of followers because she used to post nudes in like a UK fashion magazine.
Okay, but that's not a model.
Or
That's just a porn star, or not. I mean, it's a pornographer. Can you call
uh,
yourself? Can you call yourself a model?
softcore porn.
Yeah, but okay, hold up. Can you call yourself a model when you're not modeling anything?
You're modeling yourself,
Yes, but
right?
the whole idea of a model is that you're selling something, right? Like, you are the attractive eye candy to sell a product.
The dress, right?
Yeah, but okay, yeah, a dress is one way.
Mhm,
You could also have a
mhm.
model in an ad drinking a Pepsi and saying, "I love Pepsi," even though you could tell I have to eat like 50 gallons of spinach in order to make up for this Pepsi.
Can a model be a model for themselves
Well,
or a
no.
model human being?
But like, okay, so is that a model or is that just sort of pornography? Okay, question:
Uh,
Are pornography is pornography modeling?
I don't think so, unless they're modeling how to have sex, which some of them get pretty creative.
See, I think we're getting really loose with the
I
definition of modeling. I think.
mean, yeah, model's always just been someone that most people agree is semi-attractive or has a feature. And I mean, there's a difference between like models that model for like paper, you know,
Okay,
catalogs and supermodels, and
you're right.
there's different tiers of models.
I will actually you concede to a certain point. You're probably right. Playboy models. We call them Playboy playmates or Playboy bunnies or whatever, but they're
Hmm.
models in the sense they're being photographed, but they're selling the magazine. What's this Instagram
Yeah,
girl?
I mean, that's why the magazine sells, not because of the articles or anything else.
That's not what the Playboy CEO thought.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Do you remember
that
that story?
same CEO actually is stepping down, or maybe not the same one, but one of Hugh Hefner's sons is stepping down and running for state or for Congress, basically, or or state government.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've actually enjoyed watching old interviews of Hugh Hefner, because
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, because he's not a smut artist. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but he's not just a smut artist. He actually wanted to advocate a lifestyle.
The Hugh Hefner lifestyle.
Yeah, and like, you'll actually like, go look up interviews of Hugh Hefner from the 1960s, or maybe it was the 1950s, whatever. And like, he gets challenged on his viewpoints and his philosophy, and he actually defends it in a pretty substantial way. But I don't agree with it. But like, you can tell it's not like he's just like, huh, fucking horny. I want to see some naked fucking babes. He has a philosophy behind it.
Okay, well, he was a visionary.
What's the name of the guy? The Larry Flint, the People versus Larry Flint.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that would? I mean, that's more of an example of just a smut artist, like, right? It's not.
I can't, I've seen the movie. I can't recall what it was about him that people didn't like.
Mm, I can't remember either. That's just too
Yeah.
far. It's too far gone. Do you think that
Good
pornography?
movie though.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go into this. Do you think pornography can be art, or can art ever cross the? There's a lot of
I think I think if you're going like pornography art, it has to be a more erotica, or it's just pornography.
Ooh, Verotica. Have you ever seen that movie?
Veronica?
No, Verotica. Violent Erotica, the movie. Verotica.
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, we're gonna definitely watch that around Halloween this year. This is gonna be the
Oh
movie.
God.
Oh, it is so
It's
good,
gonna be
Marty.
like Blood Gnomes.
It is. It is good. Yeah, it's exactly. There's a whole. Okay, there's a whole part of the movie where it's just about like a woman who has like eyeballs for boobs, or boob.
Ugh. Boo balls.
Yeah, and she has sex with a spider. Um,
Okay.
and okay, but okay, we're definitely. I already have like sort of a list of movies we're gonna watch around Halloween time this year. It's been such a
Okay.
good year for bad horror movies.
I
Okay, but
just it hasn't been a bad year for probably movies in general, but
no, it's been a good year for bad movies.
oh, not a bad year for good movies. Or is that what I'm trying to say?
A bad no, yeah, it is a bad year for good movies. There probably was
But
going to be
it's
a
a
lot.
good year for bad movies.
There was probably going to be a lot of good movies out this year, but not anymore.
I've really been waiting for that Tenet movie to come out.
Ooh, I
Christopher Nolan.
I thought you didn't like Chris Nolan.
I do.
You hate Inception.
You can guess why.
All right, so for the layperson, Tina has a.
Ongoing feud with Leonardo DiCaprio.
I wouldn't call it a feud. He doesn't know you exist. I would call it an irrational hatred of a man that you don't respect. Because
Yes, respect.
please inform the audience
Why
why
I
why
don't
you
like him.
yeah.
Well, since he's I don't think he can act. I think he's a one-dimensional actor. I don't think he's too brave in the roles he chooses.
One-dimensional actor. Well, I don't agree with that, but I do remember the first time you told me about your beef with Leonardo DiCaprio. I remember very clearly because I thought it was one of the funniest things I'd heard. No offense, but you said
Not funny.
yeah, it can be funny. You said you hate Leo because he always plays the same character, a pissed off white guy.
Yeah,
But
still does. But I mean, there is one caveat. It's him after Titanic. After Titanic, it's the same guy.
a pissed off white guy.
He gets all this fame, and he's like, "Oh, and I'm just gonna roll with it."
But I remember when I heard this, it just made me laugh because, like, well, first off, the pissed off part, okay, that could be a concession. You win. But why did you criticize him for playing a pissed off white guy? He is white. He can't not play a white guy.
That stereotypical pissed off white guy.
Well, I remember responding with like, okay, so your issue with Leo is that he always plays a pissed off white guy. So what you want to see him do is play an emotionless performance in blackface.
If he could do that, I mean, and you know, and this time I might have to change my whole opinion of him.
So if he pulls off a film in which he does the entire movie in blackface and he doesn't show any emotion, you'll give him the respect he's a dude.
Oh hell yeah! If he can do that nowadays, I mean, I guess he could do anything.
Well, that's interesting. Do you think that the thing with blackface is overblown, justified, or not blown up enough?
Are there people out there that don't think it's blown up enough?
Possibly,
Probably.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's slightly overblown. I think we shouldn't like dive into people's pasts and like condemn people for doing it like 20 years ago when it wasn't even really a topic of
I
discussion, really.
Yeah, I want to push back on that a little bit because I don't think that there was a point in which we thought that blackface was acceptable. I will say that I don't like. So here's my issue with the whole blackface. We have to do away with it. Like things are getting pulled down when the joke was
Hmm.
this is a horrible person doing blackface. It wasn't like we're making fun of blacks. It was making fun of the person doing blackface. Like I think there was an episode of 30 Rock that got taken down, and yet
Hmm.
the whole premise of the episode was you're a terrible person for doing blackface. But just because the actress was in blackface, it was too much for people to handle. But
Yeah, they couldn't make fun of people doing it.
yeah, like that was the joke. It's like you're a horrible person. It's totally insensitive to do this. That's the joke. But now it's
Hmm.
like you can't even joke about the fact that it's insensitive. Um, and there was and also a couple things like what was it? Who's the late night host? Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel did a few routines, sketches when he was with the
Hmm.
Man Show doing in blackface. Do
Yeah,
do you think doing a caricature of a specific black person is the same thing as blackface?
if you're like trying to play a character.
Well, like if you're trying to like portray someone specifically.
Hmm.
Like if I were to try to mock Chris Rock, for instance, and I
Hmm.
went full on board with the sketch and I just basically dressed up and looked like Chris Rock, but the whole joke is I'm trying to make fun of Chris Rock, not black people. Is it okay?
You remember that Mark Norman sketch or video I showed you? And at the
Uh
end, he says,
yeah,
he's
he
like,
did.
"Thank you, I'm Kevin Hart."
Wait, Kev. Okay, no, the height supremacists. Is that the one you're talking about? Mark.
Oh yeah, the white supremacist. Yeah,
Yeah, is that
that
the?
was a funny clip.
Yeah, that was a really funny clip. Uh, Geez, I can't even remember off the top of my head some of the good jokes in that sketch. But like, what he ended the bit with saying, "Thanks, I'm Kevin Hart."
Yeah, he ends because he's like he has something with Kevin Hart and being short and whatnot.
Okay, this is a good.
Uh,
Do you think Kevin Hart is okay? Kevin Hart's married, right? He's married.
yeah, he has been in some controversies though in the past few years.
Yeah, but I think those are unjustified.
I think he's been caught cheating on his wife multiple times.
Oh, well, I didn't know about that. I thought you were talking about some of the jokes he's made in the past.
He lost the Oscars because of some anti hosting the Oscars because of some anti-trans tweets from years ago,
I don't know.
right? Or
No, I don't. Well, I don't know if it was trans. I remember I thought I heard the story was homophobic
could be.
because I think the joke was in particular is that he would hit his son if he found out his son was gay.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
But like, but it was a joke. It might have been a distasteful joke. It might not have been a funny joke, but it was meant to
Hmm.
be a joke.
Yeah, I mean, him being a comic, you should always consider that he's trying to do it as a joke. And you can say how funny he is based off of that. But when does the comedian not get away with it? Like it just trying to be a joke.
Ooh, okay. I remember I was watching a comedy bit. I can't remember the name of the comedian, but it was one of
Mm.
the most offensive comedy routines I think that anyone could describe it to be. And he
Hmm.
didn't care.
Is it
So,
where maybe like if one joke doesn't land, that's all right, but if it's like the whole act just seems.
no, 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 no. Like it's not because do you remember in the Louis C.K. Comedy routine we watched, and how he was
Hmm.
making fun of disabled people crawling? Like he's like I got bombed in Boston and my legs got blown off. And like everyone was so horrified by the fact he says you're all hypocrites because you were happy to laugh at this guy who's disabled, but you're
Hmm.
not happy to laugh at someone who was disabled for that incident. So
Okay.
I don't
Huh.
I think that is there any joke that a comedian can tell that's in such bad taste that we deplatform them?
Ooh.
Maybe.
What
Maybe.
is maybe? I mean, we're talking about comedians with platforms. So basically,
Right. So the vast majority of comedians don't actually amount
people
to.
that can make a living out of
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Most comedians do this as a side job or a hobby. They don't actually make it big.
Yeah. So what is the platform to throwing joke that someone can make that would get them kicked off?
Well,
Or
I remember a meme that my brother had shared. There's a rule about punching down.
hmm,
Like it's in general, it's not seen as good practice when a comedian makes fun of someone who's like like obviously lower status than they are, because it just seems like
hmm.
bullying. But I remember
But
my
that's the thing the comedian always tries to like pull off is they're kind of like the same as the everyday person. You don't see like really rich people, like being great comedians. It's comedians that started out, and it's working class people and then working their way and still trying to maintain that sort of vibe,
well,
right? So they're
I
always seeming like they're punching up, even if they have sort of made it.
like yeah, Kevin Hart. He's like worth. I'm looking at it right now. He's worth $200 million. But I think most people would.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know, right? So that make
Yeah.
he is the richest comedian. I think I'm pretty sure. But
And
like
Seinfeld.
that's a good point. You're right, Seinfeld. But Seinfeld more for
Which
his
is why
sitcom.
people are saying like his latest special on Netflix wasn't that great was because he seems out of touch and he doesn't have that knack of making, those small, airline, peanut jokes.
Well, I don't. I think Seinfeld's the richest mostly because of his sitcom, not because of his stand-up. Because I don't want to be rude to Jerry Seinfeld, who is very
Hmm.
funny, but don't you agree that Larry David was the real brains behind Seinfeld?
He was the yin to you Seinfeld's yang, that's for sure.
Like, who was the funniest character to you on Seinfeld?
Oh, Kramer.
What? No, I'd say it's
Oh,
Costanza.
hell yeah.
I would say
I
it was
the sketches that got me the most laughs will always involve Kramer.
Kramer was
They-
funny. Kramer was good, but I like George the most because George was just. It's funny to watch a guy this pathetic be so entitled and at the same time so like neurotic. It was very funny for me. George was
Somehow he felt like the most relatable actually out of all of them.
well, exactly. That's why he's so good. Is because like he's like, like I remember the episode where he like blows the television deal. He he absolutely blows it like because Jerry was trying to say it's like no, we're not gonna do anything. We're gonna do nothing. He's like, why do
He
you?
doubles down on this is really a show about nothing.
Yeah, I know. And like Jerry's trying to defend it, like, and he just won't let him do it. And like Jerry's just questioning him, like, where do you get off thinking that you deserve anything in this business? You haven't accomplished anything, so why do you get so like? And like he's listening to him like berate him about how he ruined the television deal, and his response was, "I thought the producer was kind of cute."
Which she ends up marrying later, but
Yes, he does, and she does. That's a great. No, Seinfeld's hilarious. But getting back to the subject,
yeah.
Kevin Hart is worth $200 million, but I think most people would feel like he's more relatable than someone like, well, Brad Pitt. That's the first name that came to my head. But that's because Brad Pitt's gorgeous and a millionaire actor. He's respected amongst all the elite class of actors and whatnot. He doesn't seem like he would walk amongst us as common folk. Kevin Hart, though.
Yeah, the thing with like actors and comedians, like the big difference is there's just a certain kind of artistic air. Like we don't give the same sort of artistic snobbery or to comedians, right?
Don't walk away from it. You said autistic.
Oh, did I? Oh.
No, I'm picking. I'm picking. All right.
Okay. Like there's not like a snobbery to comedians in the form of art. Like, oh, he's a snobby comedian, you
No,
know.
exactly. I think you know what it is? I think it's because comedians speak to people directly from who they are. Actors don't. They're actually
And
portray
they're very self-deprecating, most of them too.
right, and that's because I think a lot of comedians will admit to the fact that like behind the curtains, they're actually very depressed people. They're very flawed people. The only time they feel natural is when they're out there on stage. So they're the
Hmm.
jesters.
Hmm.
And like because they speak to you as themselves, they're more relatable than actors who are performing, and some of them are very talented. Um,
Hmm.
uh, shoot, I got nothing. Who's Tom Hanks? Well, except
Yeah.
Tom Hanks started his career in comedy, so it's a weird one. Do you?
I hmm.
I'm trying to think of an actor who's only ever done Leonardo DiCaprio has only ever done drama. He doesn't seem relatable. He won't do a comedy. He won't do a buddy action movie. He won't do a superhero movie. He only does serious
Yeah,
dramas because he.
even De Niro will stoop to, Meet the Fuckers.
Yeah, Meet the Parent. Oh, those movies are funny. Like he's really good in those.
Yeah. But can you see DiCaprio doing something like that?
I would pay to see it. I want to see if he can do it. He's been
I'm
funny.
You
Like
could say his character in what's the Tarantino movie
Django Unchained.
is slightly kind of a caricature,
Right. That's like
but
that was the movie I was thinking of. Well, I know he's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I haven't seen that yet.
I don't like him in that.
Okay, I figured. But I want to see that movie. I love Tarantino. It's always witty, it's always funny.
If you watch that movie, you should actually watch it for Brad Pitt because Brad Pitt's my favorite character in that movie.
Brad Pitt can actually do comedy.
Yeah, even Brad Pitt can do comedy.
Did you ever see
Okay, what's it? Burn After Reading?
Burn After Reading? He plays the doofus.
I love that movie.
I do too. He plays a really convincing like doofus who's like this. He's like the gym bro you all know. Like he's like he's really concerned about your glutes.
He ends up getting shot in the closet, and he's like,
Still probably the most shocking death I've ever seen in a movie.
I know. It just
it
I don't.
It doesn't fit the tone of the rest of the movie. Is the thing.
Well, same with like George Clooney in that movie, just a complete Dumbo.
Yeah. So there are a lot of actors who can actually do comedy really well. For whatever reason, Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't seem like he wants to do comedies.
Yeah.
And that's because he
Yeah.
kind of.
Well, let's add that to the list of why I don't like him.
Okay. Okay. Do you have a favorite comedian?
I think like it's the flavor of the month always.
Yeah. There's no one who stands out to you like.
My two favorite comedians I've seen in person, Craig Ferguson and Norm Macdonald.
Oh, Norm Macdonald. He's funny. I
Oh yeah,
don't know Craig Ferguson.
he was the late host after Letterman for a decade. His show is
Was he the Scottish
so
guy?
over the top. He had the robot.
Was he the Scottish guy?
Yeah, the Scottish guy.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I don't know.
You should watch some of his interviews. He's absolutely hilarious.
I will like give you three names. You tell me what you think about each of them. These are my three favorite comedians. Like when I see that they have a special out, I drop what I'm doing. I want to watch it. Louis C.K. Obviously. Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais. I wouldn't have guessed that one. I didn't think you were a Gervais guy.
Well, I actually I always liked his comedy. But when he gave his Golden Globes speech this past year, he really just jumped into a higher stratosphere of like, wow, this guy doesn't give any fucks at all. This guy gives no fucks. He really just doesn't care what these people think of him, so he'll call them all out. I respect that because he called out all of their phony behavior, and it's just really delightful to hear this guy call them all liars.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think it's probably one of his career-defining moments, along with starring as like the main office guy.
I love The Office. I love Extras. I like shit. What's the newest one he does? The depressed guy who wants to kill himself.
Oh, geez, I don't follow him as much as you, so you'd have to.
Afterlife. That's it.
Afterlife.
Yeah, I love him in The Office. I love him in Extras, and I like Afterlife. Afterlife is not on the same level as those other two shows, but it's really
Hmm.
good. It's still because it's the story. Like he makes so much fun of the fact that like the thing about Ricky Gervais, it's always about awkward comedy. It's about this shouldn't be funny, but he will find a way to we'll laugh at it because it's always about awkward situations,
Okay.
and that's what Afterlife is. He is uh, a man whose wife died of cancer and he wants to kill himself, and it's a
Oh, jeez.
and it's a comedy. It's a it's a whole series about a man who wants to kill himself because his wife died of cancer, and it's a comedy.
Okay.
But but what do you think about those like three? I mean, I would love to react to your favorite comedians, but you didn't give me any.
I gave you two.
You're
Yeah.
right. Craig Ferguson, I don't know. And Norm
Mhm.
Macdonald's very funny, but I'm surprised you would say Norm Macdonald.
I don't know. I just got into a real long, even before the quarantine happened, just phase watching his things, and then he turned up to be in Seattle. Not too a couple weeks after I started watching him. I'm like, well, why not? It was awesome.
Norm Macdonald's one of those comedians I feel like who should have been a bigger deal but wasn't. Um,
They say he's like a comedian's comedian.
right, they say about Louis C.K. too. Right.
Hmm.
Um, there's only a few big name comedians who will sell out stadiums, like
Hmm.
Dane Cook, unfortunately, Kevin Hart. Um,
Dane Cook's still selling out stadiums.
no, he's
I
not, but he
think
was.
he's kind of in a washed up phase, or I don't know what happened to
No,
him, but
he's washed up.
he definitely was at that level though at one point.
That's exactly right. I would say Kevin Hart, but Dane Cook. I remember in the late 2000s, early 2010s, he was a huge name, and he appealed to frat boys and no one else.
But it's the largest audience you could have
I don't know.
for one specific
I
group.
think women liked him too because he was good looking.
Okay. Yeah, he even got a role in a movie with Kevin Costner, didn't he?
Really? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner's an underrated comedian too.
How so?
Have you ever seen like Bull Durham? Fuck, he cracks me up in that movie. I know. It's not a comedy. Well, it is a
It's been a
comedy.
while.
Tim Robbins is a great actor, too. It's actually
Hmm.
impressive that more comedians can actually play drama than dramatic actors can do comedy.
Really? Was it Robert De Niro had that famous role where he's a comedian, right?
Kings of Comedy.
Yeah, yeah. And I hear a lot of comedians comment on that, and they say that yeah, he pulls off like the believability, but there's just something about it that doesn't seem quite like he's actually a comedian.
Would you say Robert De Niro is one of those actors who have fallen from grace? Like, he was this huge, revered actor, but his film choices as of late make him sort of a joke.
I mean, I think maybe it's because he stopped getting like big roles or
All right.
whatnot, but he was good in The Irishman. If you watched it
I
all
didn't
4 hours of it.
I did not.
Okay.
It's not that I don't want to. It's just I heard it's like a really long movie, and I don't have the time.
Mhm.
But like, he's doing all these.
Who would you say crossed the line the best from comedian to actor?
Tom Hanks. Oh
He
wait.
wasn't a comedian
Okay.
before.
Okay. Well, oh, that's fair.
Uh,
Robin Williams then.
we can go the other way too if you want.
I would say it's either Robin. It's probably Robin Williams.
That's what I was thinking.
He's a better dramatic actor than he is a comedian. He doesn't get me. He's funny, but
Hmm.
he's funny in only like a cartoonish way. That's why the genie is so great.
Well, I mean, his comedy works with his acting style, and then when he like turns the switch off, he can be a very, traumatic actor too.
Yeah, I mean Robin Williams, his dramatic films are so I don't remember him so. Mrs. Doubtfire is a comedy, but he actually pulls off the the father who's separated from his children, and that's a nightmare scenario for him. It's really good. Plus, he played Teddy Roosevelt in Night at the Museum, another comedy movie, but he plays Teddy Roosevelt
You,
exactly how I imagine Teddy Roosevelt to be.
yeah. He's like the best Teddy Roosevelt I can imagine.
I don't know how many actors have portrayed Teddy Roosevelt. Who would you?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this earlier today. Who would you cast to play a biopic of Teddy Roosevelt?
Were you actually thinking about this?
I was because I was actually watching a. I'm not going to give his name away, but I was watching some clips from an old show I like, and then I thought this guy would be the perfect Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh gosh. The perfect Teddy Roosevelt.
Which is not a question you thought you'd be asked today.
No, not I did not. No. Ah, Jesus Christ.
Who's?
If you, I wish you didn't say Robin Williams because it's like stuck in my head now.
It's Robin Williams. No.
Has anyone else tried to portray him and got good marks?
I don't think there's a big demand for Teddy Roosevelt movies. Like,
Why not? He's on the what's that monument? The
Mount Rushmore.
What's that?
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, he's on Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I know, but if Mount Rushmore was a band, then he'd play bass.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it's a Red Hot Chili Peppers band.
Okay. Did you ever see the show Parks and Rec?
Yes.
Ron Swanson.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Not only he looks like Teddy Roosevelt, and he exerts masculinity.
I heard he plays that character because that's Ron Swanson, because it's like a caricature of what he thinks that person should be. It's not like him in real life at all.
Well, no, but that's an actor. No, the actor, Nick Offerman. I was looking this up earlier. He's very left wing in his politics. So
yeah.
So to play,
that's why he pulls it off so well, as a comedic fashion.
Yeah, and ironically enough, he becomes the sort of poster child of what every libertarian's fantasy is.
And the ironic twist.
Yeah, well, I mean, like he becomes a poster boy, a figure of a libertarian movement, and it's not all character. Like for instance, the actor who plays him is actually an expert woodworker, just like the character. Yeah, so there's some truth to it. I think any performance becomes a blend of the writing and the acting. So I think as series go on, the characters begin to resemble the actors more and more because the actor gets more liberty to basically decide what the character is.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like they have their own thoughts of who this character is and what they would be saying or doing in a situation.
Exactly. So that's kind of
why they have more artistic authority over the character rather than in the beginning. I think they're more just acting.
Which is actually what I've noticed when I watch a lot of shows as I get further into them. When you watch the earlier seasons of any show, the characters are usually very bland.
It's Always Sunny. It's great, great for a season, but they're not who they are right now.
Right,
by far.
No, exactly. They take huge different directions. Like, if you were to... The thing about all the characters in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia in the first season or first two seasons, they're more or less interchangeable, all four of them. Like, they have no distinguishing characteristics, but by the end of the series, they're almost just cartoonish in how different they are. Dennis is the psychopath. Mac is the security, overcompensating guy. Charlie is the mangy, grungy, the dunce. And then Frank is the scraps guy.
It's not the same show without him either.
Is he off the show?
I mean, if we're talking about the first season.
Oh, right, yeah. I haven't watched.
He's almost like the catalyst for the character change. because he enables them with his money and his stuff to do things that they wouldn't have been able to do before.
Yeah, he was the missing link in that earlier seasons. They needed a financier to basically get them into a bunch of crazy scenarios. Otherwise, it might have been sort of a, what would you call it? Just sort of a typical. It would have been Cheers, but a little darker.
He's actually a psychopath.
Well, it just would have been like, yeah, without the financier, the crazy millionaire who's basically willing to pay for anything they want to do. It would have been kind of a boring series. It would have been revolved around the bar, which is, I guess, somewhat fine. A lot of their best episodes are in the bar. They're all in the bar. But
Kidmans.
I sent you that today. Earlier seasons were great too. I don't know. I think that's a show that's held up really well.
Because it's been able to change, and the characters over time have been able to change. You know, like how Rob McElhenney started the show, was he said he wanted it to be like the opposite of Friends.
I'm never gonna be able to get my wife to watch it if that's the pitch.
Is she a big Friends?
Oh yeah, she's a huge Friends fan, and I like Friends. I think Friends is funny, but it's like, it's not. It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, it's great for what it is, even though it's totally unrealistic that you got a person who's a waitress in New York living in that giant apartment.
Oh, it's
on that salary.
Oh no, yeah, and her roommate's a cook.
Yeah,
a cook and a coffee waitress are living on like a
a deluxe condo, and
I know the show is very unrealistic in how it portrays New York. It glamorizes it to a huge degree, but I mean, I think Joey's funny. Chandler gets a good quip, but it's not. It's Always Sunny. It's Always Sunny is. It's so messed up. Here's a question: in this PC age we're living in, how has It's Always Sunny gotten a pass?
Because they're punching up. I guess to a degree, people must relate to them in some level.
I think they're.
I mean, you don't have a popular show if it's not relatable.
I don't know. Do you think?
What do you think?
I don't think that the show is popular because it's relatable. Although I think that it's funny, like how a lot of episodes begin, or there's one of the classic gags they always do is that they're arguing at the top of their lung while someone's sitting there listening to them. I think that's hilarious. They do that a lot because I
don't think the specific characters may be relatable, but the relationships between the characters might be.
That's pretty good. That's true. Because I think that's actually pretty funny and relatable, because I've been in a situation where I don't care who's listening. I'm gonna win this argument with my friend.
Well, and then Dennis is always using Mac and like manipulating him to get what he wants out of it.
I think that the show is popular.
And everyone's taking advantage of Charlie.
Oh yeah, I think the show is popular because of the novelty of watching. Like most sitcoms try to at least present one character as virtuous, as someone you should root for. But in It's Always Sunny, there is not a single character you would strive to be. These are the worst people imaginable.
No, they're all irredeemable characters.
In their own unique ways, they're all terrible human beings.
I read an article recently about which one is the least worst out of all of them, and they said that it may have been Dee in the earlier seasons, but then she kind of goes off the rails as well.
It's not Dee, because they make it clear that Dee. They make it clear in the earlier seasons. Well, here's the thing with Dee in the later seasons, she's just more honest. If you watch the earlier seasons, it's very clear she doesn't actually care about any of the things she talks about. She just sort of wants to seem good. So she's a liar. She's basically just virtue signaling, as the term has become known. She just wants to be seen as a good person, even though she doesn't care to be a good person. I would say Charlie is the least bad.
Really, even for his stalking qualities and his I forget what.
No, that's exactly my point. Is like, because that's the one thing he's bad at. He's a stalker, and that's bad. but they're all bad people. That's the
Hmm.
only thing he does bad. Other than that, he seems like he's a caring person. He's a hard worker, and
Hmm.
the other things that are true about him is that he's just sort of mangy and gross. But that doesn't make him bad. It just makes him gross and weird.
Okay. I mean, I could go with the argument that Charlie is perhaps the more redeemable out of the irredeemable characters.
And let's be honest, like he's stalking a girl who doesn't deserve to be with anyone. And it sounds like a horrible thing to say, but like
I love the episode where he's
I know which one you're gonna go with.
that yeah, where she slept with me on the first date.
It's like
The
he
sign.
actually that's a great episode too. I remember like when he
Yeah.
it's the
They
rich
meet like a rich
yeah.
rich siblings that are trying to take advantage of him for some weird reason, and he ends up getting attached to the girl sibling, and they end up sleeping together. And at the end, like he like exposes her or something, and says
Nope.
the waitress has been like his true love all along
Well,
because she was a harder person to win over.
well, it was even darker than that, and this might be why he might not be that good a person, because
Mm.
he used the rich girl to get to the waitress, and and he just destroys her publicly, and it's so bad. It's a great clip. Please watch that show if you've never seen it. That there's so many good moments. Like it's, but I
He
was at,
destroys her publicly, but you can't call him a shallow person for doing that.
no, I mean, like, there's something sweet about the fact that he's committed to a woman who doesn't care about him at all. No, it's not sweet. It's sad. But it does say that it's true love to him. It's obsessive love, but like it's. I do remember like he does this whole I'm gonna publicly tear you down. You're gonna run away crying because I basically exposed you as as a slut, and I'm gonna call you a slut in front of everyone, all your friends. And then his response was, "Women."
Women.
But I was actually we're gonna
Uh,
think the episode where he's being convinced that he's actually intelligent.
oh,
The Flowers for
oh gosh.
Algernon parody.
Oh man, you have to remind me.
There's an episode in which they try to convince Charlie that he's consuming a brain chemical that makes him really smart. And and then like the experiment was just about reinforcing the idea that he was smart, and truth is he was never smart. He was just pretentious.
Yeah, I kind of recall it a little bit. There's a scene with him and a professor, right?
Exactly. And like there was the idea was that he sat down with the waitress just to talk with
Hmm.
her, and he found her there was nothing good about her, really.
Oh man,
That she was she had
that's
nothing going on for herself, that she was sort of a ditz, and there's why he obsessed over this woman is makes no sense.
oh, Lord. Do you? So it's a great show because of the how it portrays its characters and they're just how ridiculous they are.
It doesn't The thing I like about it is like a lot of sitcoms want to run the route of tear jerking. Like
Hmm.
Friends, like Frasier will do that. How I Met Your Mother, pretty much all the mainstream like not cable, network sitcoms. They want you to fall in love with the characters. They want you to care about the relationships. They want you to root for someone, like The Office, like Jim with Pam.
Hmm.
Uh, the thing I like about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is that they make no qualms about the fact they don't want you to root for any of these characters. They're not going to give you a season long story arc about how Charlie and Dee fall in love. They don't. They're these characters.
Hmm.
It's this South Park.
Do you think we start seeing more shows like that? Because one of my more favorite videos I've watched is about how it has to do with postmodernism and how TV shows were kind of becoming more too postmodernist through the 90s, and that the reason why shows like Community and The Office started to become more popular in the 2000s was because their shows were less about, they're more uplifting almost, and they're not trying to take shots at other characters so much for the comedic expense of the character.
Well, that's interesting. I know a fair bit about postmodernism. I wouldn't
Mhm.
describe community Office. Well, I wouldn't put Office and Community in the same category.
Really?
Come, yes. Actually, you know what? It's been so many years since I've seen that show. I think they actually do try to like push relatable relationships into there.
Hmm.
But what kind of like postmodernist shows are you referring to in the '90s? That I'm curious.
Well, even like Seinfeld, like none of the characters in that show could be thought of as, they're
Hmm.
not like It's Always Sunny characters,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not seen as in the best light always.
That was the original tagline for It's Always Sunny. It's Seinfeld on crack. I
Same with South Park. I mean, their characters, besides maybe Kyle, but I'm not sure about that.
I would also say Simpsons actually to it. Well,
You
this
know, it's like being funny for the sake of being funny, almost.
interesting. I just don't see the '90s that way. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't watch a lot of new comedies. There's nothing that's grabbing my attention.
Or I guess irony for the sake of irony, almost.
Okay, but quick question: is there a new comedy that's come out in the last 5 years that you highly recommend? And oh, Wilfred. Wilfred's a great.
Ooh, I was actually thinking about him when you were talking about the Teddy Roosevelt.
You're
What
there,
actor would be a good Teddy Roosevelt? Obviously, I was not thinking Elijah
Elijah
would
Wood.
be a.
Elijah Wood is Teddy Roosevelt. The Hobbit.
I don't know why my mind went there, but it did for a second.
Um, I don't know, but that's more than 5 years ago. So
But the show, though,
yeah, I love the show, and it's a very. That's actually a really great show. It actually,
I
it's more philosophical than it should be.
hmm
It's
it should be a show that kind of is makes light of this guy with an imaginary friend, but it gets serious.
yeah. I mean, like it's actually very meta. They do a lot of jokes about the fact that he's actually an actor and that like he's living out a life. Yeah, but the show is deep, much more philosophical than it should be because the premise is so stupid.
Yeah, the premise is so like wacky that they just take liberties and the construct of it.
Okay, but I come back to my original question. Can you name me
5 years.
yeah, comedy from the last 5 years that's you highly recommend and on the same level as some of those shows we've talked about thus far?
It's a good question because we don't watch like network TV as much as we did, and that medium would have to shift to more online. And I'm trying to think like what Netflix or YouTube stuff or HBO stuff would qualify in that air. There's a show that's kind of comedic that I like called Succession on HBO, and none of the characters are redeemable at all, but it does somehow feel relatable in some sense. Um,
Succession follows a dysfunctional American global media family.
yeah, yeah,
Three
it's
seasons.
it's really good if you want to watch it.
I might give it a try because my whole point was I can't think of one of a great comedy
But it
that's
doesn't feel like just a comedy to me, or a
see.
sitcom.
Okay, so that's not what I'm talking about because I'm not talking about dramedies. Because
Dramedies.
yeah, because Stranger Things has moments of levity and fun, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
meant to be a comedy.
What's this? What show is a comedy that in the last 5 years are we kind of shifting out of purely comedic shows?
No, I want to know if there is. I'm trying to make the point that there are none. Comedy is dying.
Would you count Rick and Morty as part of?
Ooh, I guess
It's
I
more
have.
comedic than anything else.
No, you're right. Rick and Morty is something special. And that was made by the guy who made Community. Or
Yeah.
yeah, but he's dead now.
Wait, Dan Harmon?
Was it? Well, okay, wait, no, one of them died.
I'm not familiar with the other creators, but
Okay, I think one of the chief producers of Rick and Morty died.
of Rick and Morty?
Okay, I just
I
looked
feel
it
like
up.
I would have heard that.
I know, I just looked it up right now. I'm full of shit. I don't know. I thought I heard a story about like one of them had died.
Okay. Probably some other person dying.
No, he's
Rick
alive.
and
He's alive.
yeah, surprisingly.
Good for him.
Um, but that show, like, it balances between like because they have some dark episodes, but for the most part, it's mostly
No,
dealt to comedic effect.
no, Rick and Morty is strict comedy. I don't even if it has there's a big difference between dramedies and comedies that can be dramatic.
Okay, so it's more of a comedy that can end on a traumatic note.
Yeah, there can be Rick and Morty. Oh, look at this. Premiered in 2013.
So that's not within the last 5 years.
Nope.
They just take so long between seasons,
I
like, you
know,
know.
it seems like it's been around, it's more new. But yeah, okay, so we're still on the whole thing like there is no great comedy of the last 5 years.
There has to be. There's always a generation defining.
No, not when comedy's dying. Listen,
Ooh,
listen.
ooh.
If we can accept, I think we can agree on this. I mean, we might disagree on everything else political, but can we agree that culture is becoming far too sensitive?
Does comedy still be funny?
It can't. You can't because like the whole idea.
There's a TED talk I should link to you that you should watch, but
Yeah.
there's comedians out there that still kind of are aggressive and can make fun points even at
Well,
you know.
well, that's what I like about Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle and Louis C.K. They sort of go against the grain about what they make fun of. They really, but
But
that's
those are established comics.
yes,
Prob-
exactly. They're established comics for one, and two, they still get chastised. They're not mainstream. As popular as they are, they do not get promoted. Like,
Now, can you have you can come out with comedy specials that are funny and against the grain, but can you come out with a show that is totally against the grain and
okay, what's this show? F is for family.
oh yeah, the with Bill Burr.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, that was in the last 5. It was in 2015, but that's been in the last 5 years, and I've never seen an episode. I've never seen an episode.
I haven't either. Some animated shows just look too close to The Simpsons, where I just can't come to watch it. Where yeah, it will probably be funny, but I watched so much Simpsons growing up that anything that's kind of seems too similar, I can't.
Okay, but
Go.
what you mean is an animated family.
Yeah, that just traditional animated family arc.
Well, oh shoot, my mic's acting up.
But
I would agree Rick and Morty is probably the best new comedy of the last 10 years, but I think it's pretty damning as a culture when neither one of us can think of a great comedy of the last 5 years. Is there a film?
maybe it's comedic series that are animated are trending more rather than like comedic sitcoms because it seems like you can get away with doing more sadistic things with an animated character rather than with an actual person.
I would just say the culture has shifted.
Like I think in the last 5 years, one of the more popular comedic shows has been Mouth or Netflix.
What was it?
Is it like Big Mouth or?
Oh no,
I think that's what it's called.
No, you're right. I've seen that, but I mean, it doesn't.
BoJack Horseman is another one. I think that came out after 5 years though.
Yeah, that was before 5 years ago, I think. Let me just check. But that's another great comedy, 2014. Yep. So, but yeah, that's certainly good. you're right that the animated shows have more liberties to do things.
Hmm.
I don't know why that is, but that might also always have been true because Simpsons was pushing the envelope far before a lot of like regular sitcoms were. And so with Ren and
Yeah,
Stimpy and
and Beavis and Butthead.
oh yeah, Beavis and Butthead. South Park was revolutionary.
Yeah, that was the one that really kind of pushed it into the R-rated aspect of it.
I think that South Park there was a South Park got the biggest blowback. Simpsons got a little blowback because it was about 10 years earlier than South Park and the culture was far more conservative. But South Park got a lot more blowback because I
Hmm.
mean, like no matter where you were, I think in terms of your um sort of sensitivity, I think you
Hmm.
can agree that the things that were going on in Simpsons were sort of like they tried to have a moral in some ways.
Hmm.
South Park didn't care to have a moral.
Which is why maybe The Simpsons now, even like, because they try to have like a moral, that's why you see people like trying to shut down, Apu's character and
Yeah,
other
that
stuff. Whereas if people try to do that to South Park, they'd like make a whole episode saying like "fuck you" about that or something along those lines.
well, I would say that like I think that Trey and Matt Trey Parker and Matt Stone are far braver than Matt Groening, but Matt Groening is also a pedophile, so fuck him.
Is he?
Oh, he was on Epstein's plane. So, I mean
Oh, was
that's
he?
not definitive saying he's a pedophile, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, he can fly on his plane and still not be a pedophile, right?
Okay, but can you receive foot massages from 15-year-old girls? That was an actual
Eh,
testimony of one of the Epstein's girls is that she gave Matt Groening a foot massage.
but nothing else.
It's pretty weird.
It is weird, yeah. But I don't know. I'll have to look up that. That kind of shocks me a little bit.
Oh yeah, but my point is Trey and Matt they go against the they're not insiders. They don't care.
Mhm.
In the same sense, Ricky Gervais is not an insider. He does not care what these people think of him. Same goes for Trey and Matt, and that's why they're respected as comedians.
Yeah, I mean, George Clooney wanted a role in a in one of the South Park episodes or a voice, and what they gave him was a goat, and it's just a goat making a goat noise.
I think Jay Leno wanted to be on the show, and they made him a cat. So he's just yeah.
That's how much respect they have for mainstream
No,
actors, and
you've probably heard the term South Park Republican.
I don't think I have. No.
Okay, maybe I'll send you a link to it. But like, what a South Park Republican is someone who just hates Hollywood liberals.
Okay.
Because like, this is a quote from Matt Stone, but he says, "I hate conservatives, but I really hate liberals because they just don't like the." I think they're phonies. Hollywood liberals are phonies. They're not real liberals.
Yeah, they do it because they feel pressured into accepting those sort of views.
It's the fact that like it's a good way to look like you're a good person without ever actually having to do anything.
Hmm.
If I say the right things, people will think I'm a good person. I don't ever actually have to do anything good. So that's my what I get my sense from a lot of the Hollywood liberal types
Hmm.
is that they're mostly just trying to convey to you that they're good people, but meanwhile they do like shitty stuff like Jeffrey Epstein cover up.
Or make, music videos like was that Gal Gadot did with the Beatles song.
Oh god. Well, first off, John Lennon's song. And do you think that?
What?
Let's talk about that for a second. We might need to be wrapping up the show really quick, but do you think that the John Lennon song "Imagine"
Mm-hmm.
is completely out of touch?
You could do like I think it's like one of those songs where you could even spin it off in like a dark point, like with Singing in the Rain and uh,
Well,
Clockwork Orange.
well,
And you could,
the lyrics of
I
"Imagine."
think it,
Go ahead.
I think it has that kind of quality and innocence to it where if someone were to use it in just the right lights, it would be very creepy.
Um. Okay. So I have two opinions about this song. One, I love it. It sounds beautiful. On the second hand, when you
Okay.
read the lyrics, you realize this is a horrible, horrible message. No, I mean, I don't want to seem
How
like
so?
I don't want to seem like a paranoid, crazy, like conspiracy person, but I mean, he's literally describing communism in the song. Listen to
He pretty much was a communist, wasn't
well, yeah, he was, but listen to these lyrics, and this shows how it's out of touch to the regular people who are suffering from COVID. But
he? Mhm.
imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. So no countries. So basically open borders, which is a communist principle. No
Mhm.
religion, another communist principle. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if
No, nothing to kill or die for,
yep,
too.
yep,
So
yep.
nothing to strive for.
Yep. Imagine no possessions. So private property is gone. Uh, no need for greed or hunger. He's using capitalism, greed, or hunger, imagining, well, the irony fact that, like, communist people starve people unbelievable amounts. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing the world.
Oh, Lord.
Well,
Yeah, I never thought of it like that.
I'm just saying, like, it's a very pretty song. I love the melody. I love the way it sounds. But you read the
Mhm.
lyrics, and it's pretty. It's communist utopianism, which is scary because, like, yes, the ideas behind communism sound great. Well, no, they don't. But, like, they may sound good. I think that private
You can
property.
make it sound good
You can.
and lovely and idealistic.
I believe private property is a good thing. So that's the where I disagree with them. But the point is, it sounds like a pleasant utopia where everyone's needs are met, right? The problem is it doesn't
And
work, which
that's
is
maybe
very.
why I was thinking like it can be spun in a very creepy way, is like if you used it in like a Brave New World or like a 1984 where they're using it to like try to manipulate people, it would seem a bit more creepy.
Oh, dude, 1984 is tomorrow. It's next year. Promise.
Actually, it was 36 years ago.
No, it's coming. Orwell was 100% right in his predictions. He just got the date wrong. He meant to title it 2021. All right, but listen, like this song is so out of touch. Imagine there's no countries. Well, that's how the pandemic spread because people were traveling from place to place like crazy. All right. Imagine there's no heaven. Well, that's a really comforting thing to say to people whose grandmother just died. Um, imagine no possessions. They sing to the people who have literally lost their livelihoods.
Jeez.
I'm just saying, the song sounds very out of touch.
Well, and that was maybe why he was shot and killed, because he was trying to propose those ideals.
No, he was shot and killed because what's his name? Fucking
Was
fat
it
ass.
Sirhan?
No, no. What's the fucking John Wayne Gacy?
Was it?
No, that's the clown killer. Who the fuck killed John Lennon?
I was gonna say, is it not Sirhan?
Who
Or
killed?
is that Robert Kennedy's assassin?
I think it's Mark David Chapman.
Ah,
No, he's just a guy who was far too obsessed with Catcher in the Rye.
oh yeah. What was the whole deal with that?
Okay, so this is why we can actually get into the Joker movie now because like people are always worried when a movie about an outcast gets glorified.
Mm.
The problem with that is it's the stories about outcasts being glorified doesn't change the feelings that outcasts have. They're just going to find a character to relate to. So, Mark David Chapman really identified with Holden Caulfield. He was an outcast and he saw everyone as phonies. I don't know why he killed John Lennon. I don't, but he was.
He's a phoney.
But
He sings about Imagine and doesn't adhere to that.
I don't know if it was really. I don't know. He might have just been crazy. Fuck, I don't know. Maybe he had
Sure.
but like the point is like there's always going to be an excuse to kill. People are always going to find someone to identify identify with. Before it was the Joker, it was fuck, the guy from Taxi Driver. What's it?
Oh, De Niro.
Yeah, but what's the character's name?
Ooh,
That was
that I
it.
don't know.
That was it. No, no, it was Motorboat Sound. That was it.
um.
Okay. Yeah, it was Travis Bickle.
Okay.
Okay. The point is, you don't do away with the outcast, the feelings of being outcasts, by doing away with fiction that glorifies the struggles of being an outcast.
Hmm.
So if someone killed someone after they saw the Joker movie, it's not because they saw the Joker movie. It's just because this is what this person was going to do.
They find a way to try to justify it.
Right, they're not inspired by the movies they're seeing. They relate to the movies that they're seeing, but they're not inspired by it.
It's
Although,
not inherent to why that person is that they're did that because they're a serial killer or crazy, not because
well,
of the book itself
I don't want to
or the
call them.
movie.
Yeah, I don't want to call them crazy just because I think crazy refers to people who have actual mental, like, deficiencies. I think a lot of people who kill, it's too easy to say they're crazy. Like, I've heard the argument was crazy. No, it's way worse than that. He thought like a rational human being. He just thought a very evil thing, that
Hmm.
someone can rationalize if they have a
Okay.
twisted moral framework. But it's not crazy to have different moral frameworks. Look at all the suicide bombers from Islamic extremist groups. I don't think they're crazy.
Yeah, they're not crazy.
No, no,
Yeah.
they just believe a very fucked up ideology.
Hmm.
But from their ideological framework, they're doing something that's completely rational.
Okay, so it's as long as you can come from their side and understand that they are doing it from their own kind of perspective, then it's not crazy, or a rational perspective, then it's not crazy.
Right, like the guy who shot up Sandy Hook, like he was legitimately crazy. He was on medication, and I think he was hearing voices. Same with the
Oh,
Aurora shooter in Colorado, the theater shooter. Like
mhm.
these people, like I think were diagnosable with like mental disorders that like would mean that they're hearing things.
Are you a little bit surprised that no one's tried to like some crazy liberal kid has tried to shoot Donald Trump?
Am I a little surprised by that? I think the Secret
When
Service.
was the last assassination attempt on? Was it Reagan?
I think it was Reagan.
And he lived through that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that Secret Service has just been beefed up tremendously.
Hmm.
For one, and two, I just I don't know. I just think that if Trump was to be killed, I think it would ignite a civil war.
Really?
Yeah, tensions are already extremely high in this country, and if
Hmm.
so many people have aligned themselves with Trump, like they are that he is their voice, their representation. Like it's not just that he's the president. Like you know,
So you
it's
you don't so someone they're probably understanding like if they did do that it would probably become a worse problem, but
well, I think most rational liberals realize that killing Trump, for one, doesn't fix the problem, and two, like would only like make him into a martyr. Um,
hmm.
like the thing that the person who tried to kill Ronald Reagan was crazy. He wanted to impress Jodie Foster.
Oh, really? Was
Yeah,
that had to do with Taxi Driver?
yeah, exactly. Like he was in love with Jodie Foster from Taxi Driver.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Taxi Driver came under a lot of scrutiny. But uh, but that means like the last assassination attempt was someone who was legitimately crazy. It wasn't like a rational liberal person would realize that killing Trump doesn't solve anything.
Hmm. So we've gotten a little more sane since Reagan.
No, we've gotten way worse. Mental illness is on the rise, my friend.
That is the thing that's become in the last few years a bigger public talking point is mental illness.
Yeah, and okay, like yeah, and the fact that like I think life expectancy in the United States is on the decline for like 3 or 4 straight years, which
Is it because of suicide?
yeah,
Hmm.
like that's the crazy thing people like would think like how does a developed nation like have a declining life expectancy when like the developing nations are all increasing. How does this happen? Well, because if you look at the causes of death that are growing fastest, it's threefold. It's
Mm-hmm.
suicide, it's drug overdose, and it's heart disease. Basically, we're fatter and more depressed.
Yeah, and it's you don't see suicide in countries like Africa or in Papua New Guinea going up.
No, suicide's a first world problem.
First world problem.
And Russia.
So do we oh yeah.
Russia
Well,
has a huge suicide problem, but they're not first world.
yeah, it's definitely something that's been going on for quite some time.
Oh yeah.
Um I don't know how to solve that, but
No, we would need a whole podcast just to go over that topic. It's too broad
yeah,
because there's a lot
just
of factors.
the fact that the can we say the Overton window is more focused on mental illness.
Yeah, but I don't like the way that people frame it. Like so I listen to a radio show every morning called BJ and Shay.
Yeah.
Okay, I listen to them, and BJ, to his credit, likes to talk about mental illness a lot, meant like depression and suicide. He actually wants to
Hmm.
help, but like his whole argument is that like we need to be able to talk about these things more. Like that's what will help solve the problem. Like that
Hmm.
is such a very fucking simplistic way of looking at it because I feel like we're more in touch with our feelings now and we discuss our feelings more now than ever, but suicide is on the rise. It doesn't
Hmm.
it's like it's a reverse correlation. So, like if
It's like just the fact that people are like acknowledging it is just saying like, oh, thoughts and prayers.
yeah, exactly.
It's not really helping.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right.
Hmm.
And the real causes behind the rise in suicide very broad. Can't get into it today because we're running out of time. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, because it's been an hour and 40 minutes, so we should wrap it up soon. But we'd have to discuss it in a whole podcast. But it's a combination of things: social media, social isolation, a lack of meaning to their lives. A lot of people basically have lost their livelihood, and
Hmm.
that breeds a lot of basically suicidal thoughts. But it's multivariable. It's not that we're just not talking about it enough. That's a very simplistic way to look at it. Guys are talking.
One would argue it was beforehand we were just throwing over addictive medication to people, and that was a problem in itself. And now
Oh,
we're saying that wasn't the answer, and
oh,
so we're saying let's talk about it in hopes maybe someone can maybe come up with something better. I don't know.
oh. I think one issue that I think you and I would be hand in hand about is how the pharmaceutical industry has basically promoted a huge crisis in this country.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I think most people would agree.
Right, I know. So like, that is, I mean, like we could talk about any material problems people are facing in this country, but I don't think it's as important as all the mental, spiritual problems we're having. We have a
Hmm.
huge identity crisis here in the West, and like, and instead of addressing the root causes, we're basically just saying, take a pill, feel better, and then you get hooked on stuff.
I think it's becoming less like that, and that's why people are talking about it more because people do are understanding the problems with those pills a lot more
I hope,
now than
I do hope so. I hope we're reversing the trend. I hope
and
more.
so, yeah, and since we don't know what to do, that's why it's being thrown in the spotlight is it's like, well, I can't take a pill, I can't stay this way forever.
I would hope that like everyone takes more responsibility and knowledge in this situation. I hope the doctors uh, will take more heed when they're prescribing these things. I wish the pharmaceutical industry will realize that they're creating a crisis and not push these drugs. And I hope that the patients will understand that like this isn't a cure.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's threefold.
yeah, I mean it's really that's all it's going to take. I mean, we can't put all the blame on one factor because like then it ignores two whole other factors that are contributing to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it really takes knowledge and responsibility all across the board. And the problem is there's not much incentive structure on the side of the pharmaceutical industry to take responsibility because they lose money by
No.
push by basically saying we shouldn't sell these drugs.
I mean, we just finally saw one of the bigger pharmaceutical companies. I forget the name, but it involved like the Sackler family and OxyContin,
Mm.
um, and them being taken down, or there was like massive fines against them, and then they had to file for like bankruptcy and basically dissolve their company, I think. But that's more of a painkiller drug, though. But it
Right, right.
stems from the same pharmaceutical situation.
Well, that comes from I don't know if that's more on the pharmaceutical industry or more on doctors because doctors are overprescribing, but they have an incentive. They're being told by the pharmaceutical companies to sell these drugs, push these drugs. So I've heard a lot
Well,
of
yeah,
people.
it's the people selling the drugs that they're pushing them to sell them to the doctors, and
Right,
they're giving doctors large incentives to sell them,
right, and
prescribe them.
that's terrible. And like because I've heard a lot of doctors come out and say like, and a lot of people come out and say that like these hardcore painkillers, like they are really only necessary for the first 3 or 4 days after a surgery or after an operation or something.
Hmm.
After that, you're fine to take like Aleve, Advil, like Tylenol, all these like regular painkillers that you can get off the shelf. Like we
Hmm.
should not be like, but basically doctors are writing prescriptions for like 2 3 weeks at a time or something, and that's enough to build a dependency for people. Like,
That's a big problem with benzodiazepine, benzos basically.
yes, yes. That
Um,
I know that one mostly through what's happened with Jordan Peterson. He got
yeah, I
he
think I heard something like that,
yeah.
but
It's actually
it
worse than heroin withdrawal.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
I mean, when you think of withdrawals and the worst of them, like you think of heroin and severe alcohol.
oh yeah. I don't. I mean, like this is like what scares me. If I ever get into a serious injury, and I have to be prescribed painkillers, like the
Mm.
temptation to take them is going to be so grand, just to not be in pain. But
Mm-hmm.
like at the same time, I really do worry about like addiction, because that is that will end your life. Like it can destroy you. I don't mean to be laughing about it because I see it firsthand all the time, and it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something I worry about because I work a physical job, and it's very likely that one of these days I might hurt myself in such a way that I might be on heavy duty painkillers, and I might be too tempted to take them past the point I should.
Well, at that point, you would hope that the doctors wouldn't prescribe you anymore.
I do hope that we're trending in more knowledge. The more we know, you could maybe
Hmm.
make some argument on behalf of the pharmaceutical companies that didn't foresee this crisis. That
Hmm.
they just thought these drugs were helping people deal with their recovery, and they were just doing the right thing. They didn't foresee this addiction crisis. So, but
Hmm.
now that we know, we've all seen it firsthand. Everyone's seen it, and that's what scares me about like this new economic recession where we're in. Is like so many people did not actually recover from the 2007 recession, and this
Hmm.
one's even bigger than that one, and we're just gonna see more people like not recover.
And get depressed and get hooked on whatever addictive substance that
Yeah.
comes around, or new addictive substance.
So here's the comedy. That was a great way to end it. Like we talked like 90% of this podcast about like comedy and comedians and other things that like Christmas, and then we ended
Well,
on drug
we're
addiction
at
and mental
almost the
illness.
2 hour mark in our conversation, and I think that's when you hit like the desert portion of a conversation, and you start to really get like heavier.
Oh man, that's
It's the
just.
natural landscape of the typical long discussion.
I mean, but if I titled this video like Tina and Karen discuss Christmas and comedy, And then they ended on this down note
Can
of
you believe we started on Christmas?
I was that what we started on? Yeah, I don't know. But
It was gift giving and Christmas and
yeah.
stuff.
Anyways, I mean, I probably should get going. It's 9 o'clock. It's getting like I'm sure my wife is getting hungry. We need to get dinner going again. So, is there anything else you'd like to add before we, sign off?
Uh, give the gift to yourself of unplugging for a little bit. It might be helpful for your mental health.
I agree 100%. Um, and I would say, if you can, try to donate to the Lebanon Emergency Relief Fund. If you can.
Ooh, crazy.
I know. I mean, fuck. I mean, that was one of the most shocking things I've ever seen in my life. Like that's like a fucking atom bomb went off in the city.
I've never seen like an explosive that big in my lifetime. Even like 9/11 wasn't as shocking as that.
No,
But I've already seen kind of a little distasteful meme about that, but it's still kind of funny. Where it was that who's that puppet guy, the skeleton who's a terrorist.
Jeff Dunham.
Yeah, he
Uh,
has this. There's a meme of the terrorist guys, and they're saying, "Oh, it was just a newbie terrorist."
I don't think that's true though. Wasn't it like I don't? I mean, if it was
No,
terrorist,
no, I mean,
oh,
it's making a joke that it kind of looked like it could have been like a terrorist thing.
dude, if this was a terrorist thing, then it's war starting. Like seriously. I hope it's. This might seem like a weird thing to say, but God, I hope it was just negligence.
God, I hope it was just stupidity.
Like seriously, because if what happened for because someone intended it to happen, like Jesus Christ, we're going too far. That's a whole new kind of 9/11. But
Yeah, I mean, and it's in an area of the world that has seen a lot of too much of that in the most recent years.
that's something that gets underreported a lot too. Is like we think of Islamic terrorism as affecting the Western countries, but the countries that suffer the most from Islamic terror, is Islamic countries.
Yeah, mostly between the Sunni and Shiite divide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I think like 9 of the top 10 countries from terrorist attacks are Muslim countries, and the other one being India. So
Yet the country with the most Muslims isn't it Indonesia?
yeah, I don't know what's up with Indonesia, but like they're different. Like they're definitely different section. What would you call them? Denominations, I guess, of Islam. Some
Uh,
are more peaceful, some are more extremist, like Wahhabi.
Followings or
Yeah,
Sufi.
yeah, like Wahhabi Islam is probably the most like openly terroristic. But anyways, so yeah, if anyone like is listening to this video wants to help donate and help the people of Lebanon, please do.
Please do, people.
All right.
It's small world after all.
Yes. All right. So for Tina and Karen to the tube, I am Karen.
This is Tina.
Don't do it. Don't.
Keep it going.
All right. All right.
We'll see you next week.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Yes. See you next week. Stay safe and stay hydrated. I love you.